अवधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम शिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So in our chanting last time, we had done Sharada Stotram and Mahalakshmi Ashtakam. Today we will sing the Mahishasura Mardini Stotram, page 27. How many of you know Mahishasura Mardini Stotram? Anyone? Meaning you have read it, not memorized, I am saying. 2. Okay. So we go little slow. So Mahisha means a buffalo. And this buffalo is a symbol of Tamoguna. It likes to be in the water, doesn't want to act, just wants to chill. Nothing wrong in that by itself, but tamas is that because of which we fall. We forget who we are, and then that's ignorance. Ignorance, laziness, procrastination, carelessness, these are all tamogun. So the one who destroys all that is Durga. Durgati Harini iti Durga. So she is Mahishasura Mardini, so we will chant that today. Aigiri Nandini Nandita Medini Vishwa Vinodini Nandinote Girivara Vindhya Shirodhini Vasini Vishnu Vilasini Jishnu Nute Bhagavati Heshiti Kantha Kutumbini Bhuri Kutumbini Bhuri Krite Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramyakapardini Shaila Sute Suravara Varshini Durdhara Dharshini Durmukhamarshini Harsharate Tribhuvana Poshini Shankara Toshini Kilbishamoshini Ghosharate Danujani Roshini Diti Sutaroshini Durmadashoshini Sindhu Sute Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramyakapardini Shaila Sute Ai Jagadamba Madamba Kadamba Vana Priyavasini Hasarate Shikhari Shiromani Tunga Himalaya Shringa Nijalaya Madhyagate Madhu Madhure Madhu Kaita Bhavanjini Kaita Bhavanjini Rasarate Mahishasura Mardini Ramyakapardini Shaila Sute Aishata Khanda Vikhandita Runda Vitundita Shunda Gajadhipate Vipugajaganda Vidarana Chanda Parakrama Shunda Mrugadhipate Nija Bhuja Ganda Nipatita Chanda Vighatita Munda Bhatadhipate Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramyakapardini Shaila Sute Airana Durmada Shatru Vadhodita Durdhara Nirjara भक्तिभृते चतुरविचारधुरीन महाशिवदूतकृत प्रमथाधिपते दुरितदुरीह दुराशय दुर्मतिदानवदूतकृतान्तमते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते अयि शरणागत वैरिवधूवर वीरवराभयदायिकरे त्रिभुवनमस्तकशूलविरोधि शिरोधिकृतामलशूलकरे दुन्दुभिनादमहो मुखरीकृततिग्मकरे जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते अयि निजहंकृतिमात्र निराकृत धूम्रविलोचन धूम्रशते समर विशोषित शोणित बीज समुद्भव शोणित बीजलते शिव शिव शुंभ निशुंभ महाहवतर्पित भूत पिशाचरते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते धनुरनुसंगरणक्षण परिस्फुरदङ्गनटत्कटके कनकपिशङ्गकृषत्कनिशङ्गरसद्भटशृङ्गहतावटुके कृतचतुरङ्गबलक्षितिरङ्गघटद्बहुरङ्गरटद्बटुके जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय जप्य जये जय शब्द परस्तुति तत्पर विश्वनुते जन जन झिंझिमि झिंकृत नूपुरशिंजित मोहित भूतपते नटित नट्यार्ध नटीह नाटित नाट्य सुगानरते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते अयि सुमन 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 सुमनोहर कान्तियुते चितरजनी रजनी 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 करवक्त्रवृते सुनयन विभ्रमर भ्रमर 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 भ्रमराधिपते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते. So we do little faster now. 10 to 20 we will do little faster. Sahita mahahava malla matallika mallitarallaka mallarate virachita vallika pallika mallika jillika bhillika vargavrate sitakrita fulla samullita taruna talla japalla vasallalite जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते अविरल गंडगरन्मन मेदुमत्तमतंगजराजपते त्रिभुवन भूषण भूतकलानिधिरूपपयो निधिराजसुते अयि सुदति जनलाल समान समोहन मन्मथ राजसुते महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते कमलदलामलकोमलकान्तिकलाकलितामललते सकलविलासकलानिलयक्रमकेलिचलत्कलहंसकुले कलिकुलसङ्कुलकुवलयमण्डलमौल्यमिलद्बकुलालिकुले जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते हरमुरलीरववीजितकूजितलज्जितकोकिलमञ्जुमते मृतपुलिन्दमनोहर गुञ्जितरञ्जितशैलनिकुञ्जगते निज गुण भूत महाशबरी गण सद्गुण संभृत केलितले जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्य कपर्दिनि शैलसुते कटितटपीतदुकूल विचित्रमयूखर तिरस्कृत चन्द्ररुचे प्रणतसुरासुरमौलिमणिस्फुरदं शूलसन्नख चन्द्ररुचे जितकनकाचलमौलिमदोर्जितनिर्भरकुञ्जरकुम्भकुचे जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते विजितसहस्रकरैकसहस्रकरैकसहस्रकरैकनुते कृतसुरतारकसङ्गरतारकसङ्गरतारकसूनुसुते सुरथसमाधिसमानसमाधिसमाधिसुजातरते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि पदकमलं करुणानिलये वरिवस्यति योऽनुदिनं सशिवे ऐकमले कमलानिलये कमलानिलयः स कथं न भवेत् तव पदमेव परं पदमित्यनुशीलयतो मम किं न शिवे जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते कनकलसत्कलसिन्धुजलैरनुविञ्चितनु गभुवम् भजति स किं न शचीकुचकुम्भतटी परिरम्भसुखानुभवम् तव चरणं शरणं करवाणि नतामरवाणि निवासि शिवम् जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते तव विमलेन्दुकुलं वदनेन्दुमलं सकलं ननुकूलयते किं पुरुहूतपुरीन्दुमुखी सुमुखीभिरसौ विमुखी क्रियते मम तु मतं शिवनामधने भवती कृपया किमुत क्रियते महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते अयि मयि दीनदयालुतया कृपयैव त्वया भवितव्यं मे अयि जगतो जननी कृपयासि यथासि तथा नुमितासि रते यदुचितमत्र भवत्युररीकुरुता दुरुतापमपाकुरुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते बोलिए महिषासुरमर्दिनी दुर्गा माता की जय। So today we begin the new section in this course. One section we completed, that was Vedanta, proper Vedanta with Mahavakya, etc. So the 13th chapter is where we completed that fall and rise of the human being. Now this 14th chapter we saw, that is a summary of the second section, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Today we start lesson 15. So this lesson 15. No. 14th chapter we don't, summary we don't do, it's only revisions. That you can read through. Like 8th chapter also is like that. So that's just main points of each chapter collected together. Simple it is. Webinar we did the fall and the rise of human being last week. That was lesson 13. That. Now this 15 onwards we have the famous composition of Shankaracharya ji, that is Bhaja Govindam. In gist, Bhaja Govindam has been put here in this course. So 15, 16, 17, 18, I think 4 lessons Bhaja Govindam gets covered. So what is the context first of all? So as we had seen when we did all of you came and did the presentation of various great masters, at that time we had seen that everything changes with time. So human values also change with time. Not values, human thinking changes with time. And when our thinking changes, our priorities change, our way of life changes, external way of the way in which we dress, we talk, we walk, what we achieve, how we relate with each other. Many things go through change by time. And so, as and when one becomes more and more grosser, when one values sense enjoyments more than higher values of life, the culture goes through a decline. So, if you remember, some time back we had done the definition of culture. When a group of people stay together in a geographical area for a long period of time, then the fragrance of their life, the values that they follow, that is called their culture. So this culture goes through a lot of decadence, up and down. And so Sanatan Dharma has been there for a very long time. It is called Sanatan because it is eternal. See, though in the eternal march of time, this culture goes through lots of ups and downs, and whenever it goes through a decadent period, some great master comes and revives it. Otherwise, the culture would become dead. Like so many cultures are dead today: Greek, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Roman, Mayan, they all are dead cultures. Only there in the museums and the monuments. But this culture is still a vibrant living culture. Why is that so? Because whenever it was going through a decline, some great master came and revived the culture. So cultural revival meaning re-establish the higher ways of life, re-establish the value systems. That is called cultural revival. And once we re-establish the value system, meaning the thinking process gets aligned to the higher values, we stop falling for the lower. Then if the thinking gets aligned to the higher values, it will manifest even in the behavior, in the way of living. So Gurudev always said, our view of life influences our way of life. So this view of life is what the great master tried to correct in us, because that is the cause of the way of life. This way of life is, if they try to tell, do this, don't do this externally, how much can they keep giving the guidance? If the moral compass within is set properly, then automatically one will start following those things in one's daily life. So integrity, values, honesty, truthfulness, compassion, once those are set within properly, then externally those will manifest. Then one doesn't have to tell people, don't cheat, don't loot, don't plunder. No, none of that is required, because they will think by themselves. So now whenever the culture goes through a decadence, one great master comes up and one of the first ones, see here it is, we always say that Bhagwan Vedavyasa was one of the first masters who revived the culture because he compiled the Vedas in written form. There must have been great masters before him also. The great rishis to whom the Vedic knowledge was revealed, they all have done a lot of wonderful work, but we generally give the example from Vedavyasji onwards that he is one of the first missionary masters. But we should not think that he is the first missionary master. There must have been many more before him. Sanatana Dharma it is. But he did one of the biggest things in Hindu culture, which is to compile the Vedas, classify them into different sections, and group them appropriately. So then we have 4 books: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. Then Puranas, 18 Puranas, 18 Upapuranas, all that which he wrote. So by the time he completed all that, then Mahabharata, the Brahma Sutra, all those things, Now it is hard, no? Just think about it, how to imagine that sitting in one place, he is writing all these things, compiling, and through that is revived the culture of the whole country. No mass revolution and protest, march, nothing. Sitting in a place, writing, compiling the Vedas, and then teaching that to disciples. Jaimini, Paila, like that he taught one Veda to one person. And he said, go and share this now. Bhagavatam he wrote, taught it to his own son Shukdev. Shukdev taught it to Parikshit. So cultural revival can happen through many different ways. When we re-establish the vision of oneness, whether it is through books, even Shankaracharya ji wrote so many compositions. Tulsidas ji revived at his time when Sanskrit was getting monopolized and people were not having access to Ramayana, which was Valmiki Ramayana in Sanskrit. Tulsidas ji came up and he composed in Avadhi Bhasha, made it accessible to people. So a simple principle of cultural revival is, one is reinstate the higher values of life. Second, spread it to the masses. How they will live it, we can use the appropriate methods of those times. It may be through talks, it may be through books, it may be through, today we have social media, any means. The important point is how we are able to reach out this knowledge, inspire people to change their thought processes, to value the higher values, and then live aligned to that. Then cultural revival happens. So at one point, Bhagavan Vedavyasa did that. Then again culture goes through certain decline. Then Gautam Buddha comes up. As we saw other day, that he walked out of the culture. He protested, he walked out of the culture, formed a new one. But Sanatana Dharma doesn't consider Buddhism as something different. It still says Buddha is the ninth avatar of Lord Vishnu only. So animal sacrifices, sectarianism, caste exploitation, so many of those which were decadent Hindu culture, he fought against those, formed a new one, which is new in the sense that for us we think it is new, but Buddhism also has a long tradition. He is the Buddha of this Yuga. So he called Gautama the Buddha. Buddha means enlightened one. There are many enlightened masters before him also, and many after will come also. So Buddha. Then Buddhism also went through decadence. So Hinduism went through decadence. At that time, nobody came up. One may say, why did Vedavyasa not do? He is a Chiranjeevi. That is one question one can have. That he is living, even today he is living. But the point is, he did what he had to do. Continuously, if somebody has to be told, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, after a point, nobody will listen. They will evolve in their own time properly. And in some different methods they will need. So different masters come up. Our culture declined, Hindu culture declined, Buddhism also declined. Then what happened? See, at such a time it's very easy to give up. But Shankaracharya comes up at that time. And he revives the culture again. What does it mean to revive a culture? It means to go against the prevalent existing beliefs and practices of that society, which are either harming them or not manifesting their full potential, either of these. And to go against the flow of the majority it requires tremendous amount of clarity and strength, especially spiritual evolution. Cultural revival is connected to that because it is telling us to master our senses, to control our mind, to live uncompromisingly certain higher values of life. How is that going to happen? Unless each and every individual is inspired by that ideal of evolution, that why I need to master my senses, why I need to control the mind, why should I live uncompromisingly the values. So what we saw earlier, no, Satyam, Ahimsa, Brahmacharya, those are three fundamental values. Somebody has to be inspired to live like that, because to live at the level of the senses very easy. Eat, drink, enjoy. That's the philosophy of life. To live at the level of the mind and keep reacting and keep getting disturbed and keep getting irritable, very easy. And not to have any particular value system in the head in the name of being spontaneous, in the name of being very liberal. I don't follow rigid rules. That's very, very easy. But to tell somebody that no, live at the level of, don't live at the level of the senses, don't react at the level of the mind, don't be so loose in the value systems, hold on to certain values uncompromisingly. That requires clarity, and more important than that, that requires that personal integrity. The person who is saying it, if that person is living that, then the opposite person also will feel inspired and will start living. This happens even in our daily life. We can tell our children, don't tell lies. But when somebody calls, then daddy tells the child, tell it on the phone, daddy is not at home. Now, where is the child going to learn integrity? Honesty, he will not learn. Because role model only is not there. So these great masters, they served two purposes. Their life itself is a role model. That looking at them, people feel inspired and they want to live like that. And second, once they are living those values, then they do all these appropriate things to revive the culture. And they cater to all types of people. That is the best part of it. They will cater to the novice, they will cater to scholars, they will cater to devotees, they will cater to non-believers, all different types of people for whom different types of work are done. And so here it is that Shankaracharya ji, what did he do? His life already you have seen, so I'm not going to go into the details of that. But he wrote the commentaries on the Prasthanatraya. What are the Prasthanatraya? Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. Gita, Upanishad, Brahma Sutra. So we can remember them in one particular order. Upanishads are the revelations in the Veda. Then the Upanishads, when they are simplified and that philosophy of the Upanishad is brought into the common man's life, day-to-day affairs of the common man's life, that becomes the Bhagavad Gita. And there are subtler contradictions which are there in the apparent contradictions which are there in the Upanishads. Those are clarified in the Brahma Sutra. And these Brahma Sutras are also called Vedanta Sutra or Badarayana Sutra, written by Vedavyasji. So Gita and Brahma Sutra, Gita is compiled by Vedavyasji, Brahma Sutra composed by Vedavyasji. So on these three, Shankaracharya ji wrote commentaries. Today also we are following that. Even if we take the date of Shankaracharya ji to be 700 AD, which is disputable date, but still, suppose even if you take 700 AD, still how many, 1300 years, 1200 years later, we are still reading that. And it is still relevant today. So the idea is that when they write for all categories. So this is for students of Vedanta. But what about common man? So many compositions he did, which are like Bhajagovindam, Tattvabodh, Atmabodh, so many stotrams on the various deities. All those a common man can learn and get introduced to this knowledge from childhood. And as one grows, the beauty of some of these compositions is, see, Bhajagovindam from childhood one has learned. At least earlier generation we learned. Here, how many of you have heard Bhajagovindam from your childhood? Not childhood. From childhood. How many of you are making your children listen to it? But that is the important part. See, culture passes on from one generation to the next. Which is why I said we have to live first. Like the role models have to live first, then the next generation will want to live it. Otherwise, why will they live? In the house, if that Bhajagovindam is going on, suppose there is some culture in that sense that every morning the mother gets up or the father gets up together, they all sit and pray 10 minutes and then they all leave for their work or school or whatever it is. Some such discipline, some culture is followed in that sense. And as the children grow up, they will become more logical, rational. So then they have to be told the meanings of these, that why are we doing this? When they are very small, so they won't ask too many deep questions. They will say, what is this? One can explain their language at that time. As they grow, one can even tell them. Or they can attend any camp on Bhajagovindam or a study class or any such thing. So they will also understand the deeper meaning and then they will see how it can help them in their life also. So that culture used to be passed on like that. Today, the Sanskrit language also one doesn't learn. Earlier, we used to learn in the school. So it is a challenge today that how we will ensure that we pass on the culture to our next generation. For many times, what happens is people think that no, Hindu culture is Sanatan, it will never decline. Every time somebody declines, one great master will come and revive. So now let it decline, one master will come and he will revive. How will master come and revive? Unless the people are inspired to live the program and then pass it on. Master can only come and tell us again the forgotten meaning and the values and make it applicable for today's life. Then we feel, yes, this we can live today. But then finally I have to only live it. Master cannot do anything. For many centuries we have lived like this only. Whenever decadence has happened, we wait. Some great master will come, then the master will revive, then we will live. Centuries go like that. You know, 1893, 11 September, Vivekananda spoke at World Parliament of Religions. To commemorate the 100th year of that, in 1993, on 7th August, they had a World Parliament of Religions. And they wanted to invite Puja Gurudev. And you know who went? From Vishwa Hindu Parishad. Who went to invite Puja Gurudev? Modi ji had gone. Narendra Modi ji had gone to invite Gurudev to come and address for the 100th year of Vivekananda's address at the World Parliament of Religions. But Gurudev had a premonition already. So 7th August was that date. And 3rd August was the day he dropped the body. So he knew. And very fascinating it is in that sense that one devotee called Anjali Singh used to be very close to Gurudev. She's there even now in Delhi. She has traveled extensively and many books she has brought out. many conversations that she had with Gurudev. You know. So Gurudev was in US in at that time. So when Modi ji had gone here in India to invite, Gurudev had said he will not be able to make it. His itinerary was also there, blocked. Something else was there at that time. But he also said that it would not be possible to reach. He didn't say in specific words that he's going to drop the body or anything like that. But he said he wrote a nice letter and a message he gave. And 3rd August he had dropped the body. Anjali Singh had actually asked Gurudev. She was very upset that Gurudev told her to stay in India. When Gurudev, generally July, August is the time he goes abroad. This time he said, you stay here, don't come. She said, but you are going abroad and World Palmetto Religion is there on 7th August. He said, don't worry, you will get important pictures on 7th August here in India. And she was wondering, what is this? Why he's not allowing me to come there? And he's saying, I will get important pictures here. Nobody had a clue. But he dropped the body 3rd August. And by the time it came from there to here, he dropped the body in San Diego, America. By the time it came here, on 7th August, it was in Delhi. And Anjali Singh she took the pictures of Gurudev's final journey, where from Delhi he was taken to Siddhabari and then the Bhu Samadhi happened. So the point here is that when Modi ji had gone there to invite him, one of the things he said was very powerful. He said, 100 years back I came and I woke you all up. What did you all do after that? You went to sleep. Again I have come after 100 years. What will happen? I will come and address there. But will you keep awake? Powerful. He said it. That 100 years ago I came. As Vivekananda ji, he rode 100 years ago. And after that, what did we do? We may keep quoting that speech of Vivekananda ji now and then, and a lot of students memorize it also, and elders and everybody. But that vision of Hindu culture, the vision of what true Sanatan Dharma is, and how uncompromisingly we live, that has to come inside. So unless we don't follow that, the great masters keep coming, they lift us, they make us, they awaken us, and again we go back to sleep. Again some master has to come. And how long will that go on? Luckily in this culture of ours, the inherent vitality of this culture is such that it keeps producing these great masters. And every state keep producing some great master or the other, and the language also has, the regional languages has a lot of such literature. But one has to keep this in mind, that it is our responsibility. It is not their responsibility. They actually come down for us. Otherwise they could stay in the forest quietly, absorbed in the absolute truth. Why would they need to come down? Why does a Shankaracharya ji need to travel all over the country 4 times on foot? Why does Gurudev have to work for 42 years with 16% of his heart in the last few years? That is because we are not doing what we are supposed to do. So now, once we understand this part, that they came to revive this culture, and even today when we are learning this, in our own way, we contribute to the culture by living this culture and then ensuring that we pass it on to the next generation. Timeless culture, beautiful culture. So Bhaj Govindam is one such composition which we learn from this childhood. And as we learn it, we memorize it. As we grow, we start thinking about it and the meaning of it. And that will change the very thought process in our life. What we really value when that changes, everything changes in life. Because it's very easy to have superficial value system, and especially the wrong value system. So Bhajagovindam has 31 verses. And one of the names of Bhajagovindam is Moha Mudgara. There's actual name, Moha Mudgara. Moha means delusion. Mudgara means to destroy. These are 31 verses which will destroy our false notions. So many wrong notions which we have, it will destroy each of them. So Moha, what does Moha mean? Moha means Moha Vaichitya. Vaichitya means opposite. Not to see something as it is, but to see it as opposite, that is called Moha. Like not to see the rope, but to see the snake. Now the rope is harmless. Snake is harmful, but I am seeing the rope as snake. Rope is inert. Snake is sentient, but I am seeing it as sentient. So not to see a thing as it is and to see it opposite, that is called Moha. Now where does this apply? At the deepest spiritual level, it applies not to see the self, but to think of ourselves as the jiva, that is the moha. And once I think of myself as a jiva, the further moha is there. Example, wealth. Wealth is supposed to be a functional utility. It has a transactional value. But now not to see wealth as that, but to see the wealth as something that is going to make me feel more worthy. And if I have more wealth, I am more worthy. If I am more wealth, then I am more successful. To connect it to my psychological self-esteem and to fluctuate based on that, and then in relationships to become more hard-hearted just for the sake of wealth. Guruji Swami Tejomayanji says very nicely, the love of wealth has made the wealth of love disappear from our life. Then we have given wealth an exaggerated value. False and exaggerated value when we give, that is what makes us fall. This body is a tool for sadhana. But to not to think of it as a tool for sadhana, but to use it as a tool for only sense enjoyments, that is moha. To think that people will always be, loving to me, supportive to me, will always take care of me, that is another delusion. As long as I am productive, they are going to take care. The moment I am not productive, they will say tata bye bye. Guruji says, till you are productive, they care for your welfare. After that, they are waiting for your farewell. When will he go? Why is he not going? Just look at it, how pathetic it will be now. The same children whom one has brought up with so much of love, care, affection, they will dump the parent. Literally dump. Drop them to some old age home or literally take them to a city and leave them and not return. How painful is that? Before the world does that to us, we have to be detached from the world. The false value should not be there only. So what is the context of this Bhajagovindam? One day Shankaracharya ji is in Kashi. Kashi, the very word Kashi means Kashate, that which helps us to shine. And what helps us to shine is knowledge. Kashi is the great center of knowledge, learning. How many of you have been to Kashi from here? Anyone? Only one person. Not Uttar Kashi, Varanasi, the actual one, Kashi Vishwanath. So that Kashi Even today is a great center of learning, but earlier days that was much, much more. So many scholars, so much debates and research, a lot of things going on in Kashi. So Shankaracharya also had been to Kashi. And in Kashi once he finished his daily bath and rituals and everything, and then he was going and he suddenly saw one old man. And what is this old man doing? He is mugging up Sanskrit grammar. So in Sanskrit grammar there are roots, and the verbal roots will form the verbs, and then the further words will also come from that. So he is mugging up. Kru is a root. So simplest verb in Sanskrit is karomi, I do. That is coming from the root word kru. So dukran karane is mugging up that sutra. And Shankaracharya looks at him and he feels pity for him. Why do you think he feels pity for him? The old man mugging up Sanskrit grammar, what is the problem? Why Sanskrit grammar should not be learnt? So now he's old and he's learning. So that is what is the problem in that? Because anyway we believe in Punarjanma. So after we die, we continue the same subtle body. So it will help him in the next life. No, we will catch up Sanskrit more earlier. Why should I not learn Sanskrit at old age? But mugging to Sanskrit, there is no more understanding in that. Dukran karane, if he knows the meaning, kru karane means to do. That's all. There is nothing more to understand after that in that. Is there any other reason? Now that is not necessary. He must have learned from a teacher and now he's sitting and mugging up.
Just learning and mugging, applying.
Yeah, close to that. So the idea here is that there's nothing wrong in mugging up or learning Sanskrit. But as she said, at what age, what should be the priority? That is important. In the old age, if I am learning Sanskrit, nothing wrong if I learn Sanskrit, but my priority cannot be to mug up Sanskrit grammar. The priority has to be think of Bhagwan. And that's why it says that, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudha Mate. Oh deluded fool, think about Govind. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karne. When the appointed time of death comes, dukrin karne is not going to save you. Meaning, what is truly essential in my life, that I must know. That I must not miss out. I always give this example. If you go to Paris, what should you see? Eiffel Tower. Na? If you don't see Eiffel Tower and come back, then people will say, what the hell, why did you go to Paris? Waste of money. Huh? Again go. So, we come to human life, having got a human body, what is that which we have to strive for? If that we have not realized, what else is the use of other things? And that is the self. I should know who am I. That I don't know. Because if I know who am I will be freed from the cycle of birth and death itself. And that which I am seeking is fulfillment. I will experience that fulfillment. But if I don't know who am I, no matter what I collect, no matter how successful I am, I will still feel limited, I will still feel incomplete, I will still feel bound. So one point is to understand the priorities. that at which age what should I do. Timing is important. No, Swamiji, at least I start learning Sanskrit, then next life I will get some guru, then I will get a knowledge, and then after that I will start meditating, then I will realize. If I want to think like that, then I'm thinking, okay, but Shankaracharya is saying, don't waste your time. Start remembering the Lord here and now. Surrender to Bhagavan, then your job is done. Because all the study of the scriptures, etc., is meant to bring this surrender to the Lord. That I completely surrender to Bhagavan. You are the Karta. I am only an instrument. Give up the ego and remember Bhagavan. So one is the prioritization. Second is I should know what is a goal and what is a means. Sanskrit literature, is it a goal or is it a means? It is only a means. At a certain age, the means is important, so that through the knowledge of Sanskrit come to study the scripture, and through the study of the scriptures ultimately surrender the ego. Now at this age when I am old, if I have to learn Sanskrit grammar at the cost of my sadhana or study of scriptural literature, in whichever language I know, the beauty in our culture is at least there is knowledge available in my own language also. I don't need to go and study only Sanskrit. Sanskrit has its own beauty and divinity. There is no doubt in that. But at that age, when I am old, now if I start learning, and Sanskrit grammar, the grammar that he was learning is the traditional grammar, which will take 12 years to learn proper. Ashtadhyayi, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi and all that, if we have to master it, it will take traditional method, I am told it will take at least 12 years properly to master that. And he is old now. Now he started his yatra. Meaning he has got stuck with the means, forgotten the goal. At this age now, it is not necessary to learn Sanskrit grammar. One can even take translations of somebody else and read the meaning and then start applying it, meditate and realize the truth. So Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. 3 times he says, not 1 time. Bhaja Govindam. 3 times to emphasize that this is very, very important. And second, he tells it 3 times because it is also at 3 levels. The word Bhaja means, general meaning of the word Bhaj means what? Bhajan. Bhajanam Bhaktihi. So, love the Lord at the emotional level, because that is the crux of human life. Like Eiffel Tower only it is. We don't see Eiffel Tower and come back. It is like that. Whole life goes, but devotion to Bhagavan doesn't arise. Intellectual, I may be very logical, rational, analytical, discriminative, and then believe in science and then achieve things in the world outside. But the devotion arise, which God, what God, I don't believe in God, I believe in science. Then you didn't see the Eiffel Tower. Because devotion to Bhagavan is the essence of this human life. Everything else will remain aside. Whatever I am doing is only because of Bhagavan's presence and His grace. No, Swamiji, it is my effort. I came into this city with only 1 rupee in my pocket. Today I am a multi-billionaire. Wonderful. With your effort you achieved it, no doubt. But who gave you the ability to do? None of this body functions on its own. Think before. How is a body functioning on its own? There is some enlivening force in this body, without which this cannot function. So, who is that God? What is that reality? What is the source of this universe? From where did I come? Where do I have to go? So many basic questions are there for which we don't know the answers, which we have to find out. So, Bhaja Govindam, when he says, one meaning of the word Bhaja is devotion. Develop devotion for the Lord. No, Swamiji, I am not a Bhakti Margi. I follow Jnana Marg. Last class, last to last class, we did that. No? Different paths which are there. Each path is only predominant for that portion. The other three are there in it. Like Jnana Margi may follow intellectual path of discrimination and analysis, but it also has bhakti, Guru Bhakti, Ishvara Bhakti is there in it. Otherwise, that Jnana is incomplete. So we should know that this one is at the level of the mind. Gurudev always used to tell us that to cultivate the head is very easy, to cultivate the heart is difficult. Bhakti has to rise in the heart, devotion. So Bhajagovindam means, Bhaj means to develop devotion. When I love somebody, when will love increase in our heart? Can I love somebody without knowing anything about them? Suppose I say love, I love my country. Why do I love my country? There will be reasoning, some logic has to be there. That I love my country because it is so wonderful, so much of diversity, such beautiful culture. It has brought me up. All the resources of this country I have consumed. Many things. What it was some in the past was so glorious. What it is today is so much of youth in this country. So many reasons one can give. The more I know, the more I will be able to love. So the second meaning of the word bhaj is to know. Know about what? Know about Bhagwan. Know about the source which is common to the Jiva, Jagat and Ishwar. Some unknown object, can we start loving? We have no idea about that. We have not heard about it. We don't know what are its properties, what are its qualities, nothing. Can love arise? Logically speaking, it is not possible. But in daily life, many times that is what happens. What is it called? Love at first sight. You know nothing about that object or that person, but you just see, at least there some information is there in terms of how that person looks, and then person looks attractive, so you say, I love at first sight. But suppose you come to know that the thoughts of that person are very wicked, then what happens? Love at first sight, divorce at the first fight, gone. You say, no, I don't want to. Looks beautiful, but inside is. So the more I know properly, the more love rises. So devotion has to come when a knowledge is there. So this devotion and knowledge, they go hand in hand. And when I love someone and I know more about them, then what do I want to do? I want to serve. So the third meaning of the word bhaj is seva. Bhaj sevayam. So one meaning is love, one meaning is knowledge, and one meaning is seva, service. So three times Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja. So body-wise serve the Lord, mind love the Lord, intellect know the Lord, know love serve. Three things. Bhaja. And whom? Govinda. Now who is this Govinda? And the word Govinda also has beautiful four meanings. First meaning of the word Govinda is Krishna Bhagwan. I mean, the Lord himself, Vishnu, in this form. Simplest meaning. Why is called Govinda? So the other meanings will explain that. So Krishna as a cowherd, what did he do? He used to get up in the morning and take the cows to the forest. Just think what form Bhagavan has taken. Cowherd form. The creator of the whole universe comes in the form of a cowherd boy. We think that, some big person comes, means some big position, big power, all that. He comes as a cowherd boy. And what is his job? Get up in the morning and take the cows to graze in the forest. And then protect them there. And how is he protecting? He is not protecting also. He is playing his flute there. And evening time, gather them back, bring them back home. That appears as a leela that he did. But as a symbolic meaning, the word go means our senses. And Vinda means one who controls the senses. So Govinda means the Lord who is enlivening our senses, without whom the eyes cannot function. We think that eyes function on its own. Eye cannot function on its own. No, Swamiji, subtle body is there in it. No, the mind is there in this body. As long as the mind is there, the eye functions. What makes that mind function? That mind is functioning because of consciousness only. Without consciousness, that mind will not function. Without that mind, I cannot function. I may be able to see, but there is no recognition, nothing will happen. So all these senses, pranas, mind, intellect, we saw, no, Panchakosha. They all function because of that self. That self is Govinda. So one meaning is Krishna. One meaning is the consciousness that enlivens our senses. One meaning is the earth. Go means the earth. One who protects this earth. Krishna Bhagavan's avatar also happened for Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam. To protect the good people and to destroy the wickedness, to re-establish Dharma, avatar of Bhagavan happened. When adharma increases on this earth, see, already Mother Earth is bearing the burden of all of us. For her to bear the physical weight is still okay, but the weight of adharma she cannot handle. Whenever adharma increases, she goes to the Lord. In Bhagavatam it comes, the very moving scene it is, where Parikshit Raja is on his Digvijay Yatra. He is conquering different places. Parikshit Raja is the grandson of Arjun. Arjun's son Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu's son is Parikshit. So when Parikshit Raja is traveling that way, he comes to the eastern banks of Saraswati river, and suddenly he sees there that there is one Shudra who is dressed up as a Kshatriya, and he is beating a bull which is having only one leg and a cow which is crying. And this Parikshit Raja says, what is this happening in my kingdom? Who is this person? And he understands, this is Kali Yuga who has come like this, because the main feature of Kali Yuga is cunningness and manipulation. What one is inside and what one is outside will be completely different. That is called Kali. And this bull has only one leg. Because 4 legs the bull generally has. The bull is symbol of dharma. In Kali Yuga, so what are those 4? Satya, Tapa, Shaucha and Daya. These are 4 legs of the bull. In Satyuga, all the 4 are there. Satya is there, Tapa is there, Shaucha is there, and Daya is there. But in Treta Yuga, Satya goes Only Tapa, Shaucha, Daya remain. In Dwapar Yug, Satya and Tapa both gone. Only Daya, only Shaucha and Daya. And in Kali Yug, Daya also gone. Sorry, Shaucha also gone. Only compassion little bit is there. That's all. So only on one leg it is standing. Bull. And the cow is a symbol of Mother Earth. She is crying because she can't handle this. When there is no Satya, when there is no Tapa, person will become so indulgent, will follow adharma, one will fall from the level of human to animalistic and lower levels also. And no purity of mind is there. Then what will happen? Manipulation, exploitation, all those things will happen. So she was feeling very, very sad. To remove her suffering is what Bhagwan comes to take avatar. And there she is crying because Bhagwan, who had taken that avatar, who had destroyed so many Kshatriyas and others who were adharmic, he had left his body and gone. Krishna had gone. So the cow was crying. In Bhagavatam she cries that, that savior of mine, he has gone now. Now how will I handle? Because the moment Krishna Bhagwan went, he left his body, Kali Yuga started. So he said, Treta Yuga, Bhagwan came, saved me. Now this Kali Yuga, so the problems and atrocities are increasing so much. How will I handle it? So cow is a symbol of that, earth. And Govinda, meaning the protector of the cow. So as a cowherd boy, he had definitely protected the cattle. But as the Lord, he is the one who protects the earth. So how many meanings we saw? 3 meanings. One is Krishna himself. Second, enlivener of our senses. Third, the protector of the earth. And fourth, Go also means Veda. The one who is known through the Veda and one who is the revealer of the Veda is Govinda. Bhagwan. So it is said, Vedas are the very breath of the Lord. Yasya nishvasitam Vedaha. Vedas are the very breath of the Lord. So without the breath, a person doesn't live. The breath and the person, they are one. In that sense, Bhagwan and the Veda is one. And the Lord's revelations are all compiled in the form of the Veda. And when we follow those, the nature of the Lord also is revealed to us. So he is the revealer of the Veda and he is revealed through the Veda, both. That is the Lord, Krishna, or Supreme Lord, infinite consciousness. So now what is Shankaracharya saying? Bhaja Govindam, meaning love the Lord, know the Lord, serve the Lord. And who is this Lord? Enlivener of the senses within me, one who took an avatar and came, one who is the Ishvara who protects the earth, and one who can be known through the Veda. Now this much is done through, this much is conveyed by those 2 words, Bhaja Govindam. So he says, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Modha Mate. We may feel that, how can Shankaracharya ji insult this person? He is such an elderly person. And Shankaracharya ji is so young and he is calling him deluded fool. But he is not telling to insult, he is telling out of compassion. Now, sometimes parents tell children, Buddhu, is not to insult, you are a fool. It is to say out of love that, come on, use your head. So it's out of love and compassion. And Gurudev says that it is like this fire, this commentary of Gurudev is very nice. In that he says that suppose your head is on fire, what will you do? Will you be sleeping? Will you want to go to disco and dance? Will you want to drink Coke and eat pizza? No, we'll sit and let us watch a movie. What? Head is on fire. What will I do if my head is on fire? Run to the place where there is water, pour it on the head, put that fire off. There is no other priority in life. This alone. Is our life on fire or not? Every minute we are going closer to death. With every happy birthday, what am I celebrating? One more step closer to death. That's why it has to be happy, Swamiji, because when this step will end, we don't know. So life is so short, and such a short life, already the body and life is on fire, it is going towards its end. It is like a candle, no? The moment the candle is lit, it goes on decreasing. In that limited life, I need to realize the imperishable truth, absolute truth. That I don't know. And the whole life just goes. So Mudhamate means that, the thing that Gurudev writes here is this: when the house is on fire, no formalities need be respected in waking up your respected parents, wife or children. The urgency of the moment demands that they must be awakened immediately. Here in Moha Mudgara are a few criminally sweet slashes with a kindly cruel whip of horrible impatience, coming with a hateful love for the welfare of the beloved disciple, still sleeping in samsara sorrows when the house of life is ablaze with death. So it's a very nice one. So this Bhadagovindam is like that. 31 wake-up calls. Meaning if you are sleeping, fatak, one shot. Didn't wake up, another shot. Didn't wake up. 31 calls are there like that. 31 fat, slaps. And the strange thing is, after going through all this, Bhadagovindam, 31 clashes also, after teaching it also, still we are sleeping sometimes. Look at the power of that Maya. In actual sleep, if somebody gives us one shot, we'll wake up. One is enough. Here 31 are given, still one is asleep. That's why it says Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudha Mate. Why? Because that moha is very deep. Mudha Mate. Samprapte Sannihite Kale. At the appointed time of death, Sannihita Kala. Appointed time of death means what? Everybody's exit date and time is fixed. Nobody can change that. Before we are born itself, it is fixed. By whom? Not by God, by our own karma. Don't say that Bhagavan is fixing our birth date and death date. Our own karma, to exhaust this much. Now you go to a hotel, long weekend, we go to a hotel and stay somewhere out of town. Before you go from here only, you fix up everything. Now I will go for 4 days, check into the hotel, check in time, check out time, everything you know. Accordingly book the flight and everything. Same thing, we have only checked into this world. No, but we don't know our checkout date. That is a good thing in a way. Suspense is there, no? No, but if we know, then we can plan accordingly. Delusion will be such that even if we know, we may not plan. No, but is it not better to find out? You can find out. Astrology is there. You can find out whenever you want. But the point is, what will happen at that time? Samprapte sannihite kale. At that appointed hour of death, will this Sanskrit grammar come to my help? To face the pain at the time of death. To face the fact that all that I have accumulated in my whole life, I have to leave here and go. No, what will happen to my bungalow, my gadi, my bank balance, my children, so many things. What a legacy I am leaving behind. What will happen to that? That they will take care. Why are you bothered? You think about Bhajagovindam. No, but whole life one who has thought about money and bank balance and all that, at the time of death also will think only of that. Suddenly Bhagavan's thought is not going to come. So how to ensure? Because what is going to come with me? Should I take care of that? Or what I am going to leave behind, I should spend my whole life in that? That is called prioritization. Is there anything that will come with me? Physically things may not come. So physically we say khali haath aaye or khali haath gaye. Physically true. But 21 items we come loaded with. What are those 21 items? 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, 5 pranas, mind, intellect, memory, ego, 19. Plus all the vasanas, 20. Plus ignorance, 21. 21 items I came into this life with. And while living here, I am not reducing my karma. What am I doing? Adding more karma. So I did not come empty-handed, I am not going empty-handed. I came with a certain bundle of karma, I added more karma, I went with more heavy bundle of karma. That's all I did. So what will come with me is my karma, what will come with me is my dharma, what will come with me is these 21 items. My bhakti, jnana, this all will come with me. And the next janma also is connected to this only. Is there any guarantee that once a human, always a human? Does the scripture say anywhere? Popular myth is that people think like that. After going through 84 lakh species, now we have come to human life. Now we will not go down. Who told? Nobody told. Shastra didn't tell that. One will go anywhere. So all the more important it is to value this human life, because next human life, when I will get, I don't know. Even if I get the human life, when will the spiritual samskar manifest in that? I don't know. Chinmaya mission will be there or not, that I don't know. I am not saying you can't realize without Chinmaya mission, but I am just saying Vedanta, knowledge of Vedanta, when will I get? How will I get? From where will I get? No guarantee of any of this. So this life, some guarantee is there. One has to prioritize it. Hence, he says, Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karne. So this is only a means. Sanskrit knowledge is a means. Scriptural study is also a means. How much I study and how much I start living to purify this mind, that pure mind will come with me. Bhakti will come, jnana will come, dharma will come, karma will come. So did I take care of this or not? Now to improve this life and to improve the process of dropping this body and to improve the life hereafter. For all the 3, Bhari Govindam is beautiful. So that we will take up from our next class. And next class when you come, I will give you this one commentary of Gurudev, because we will chant the verses. We will learn the chanting, and the course material what is there, we will follow that, no doubt. But we will also be doing little more detail. So we will take this up in the next class. Yeah. No, so Gurudev's message was read out there by Swami Dhiranandaji. He went. And they must have called somebody else as a main speaker. I have to find out who finally went. Because Gurudev had said he can't make it. I will find out, I'll tell you.
We always debate how can you go early marriage now. You took a couple of meetings and then 10 days you decided to, but this arranged marriage, the reason that doing so years, how do we cut this?
So the question, yeah, I'm repeating the question because online, those who are seeing by web, they may not be able to hear. The question is that I spoke about love at first sight, and then today's children, they say that how can you just have arranged marriage in 10 days time? But the tradition of arranged marriage has been going on. That's what the parents feel. So the point is, love at first sight, what I meant is only that just by seeing, you cannot decide anything about the person. You have to know more about the person, the value system, the thought process, the feelings. What does the person have? In a love marriage or an arranged marriage, that principle applies. Because you can't fall in love with somebody just for their looks, which is what generally people do. Only for their looks or only for what things they have. But who that person is, if you don't know and if you can't tune up to that person, then there will not be a proper connection. Then one will feel suddenly disillusioned. So either case that has to be done. Now, in a love marriage, it is the advantages also are there, that you have spent time with the person, so you know about the person, you know the value systems, and disadvantages are also there in it. Same way in arranged marriage it is, that what that person appears to be in 10 days, and after marriage what that person is, suddenly you may feel array. So in that sense, the person has to figure out which is the option. The idea is, the focus is on knowing the person. Whether you do it through love marriage or through arranged marriage doesn't matter. Which nowadays people are doing or not. They are not finishing relationships only in 10 days time. Dekha and say, ek do meeting kar liya, okay, fine, done. They spend time. They try to know each other. So they try to do certain things together, spend some time, find out more about that person, make some background inquiry. So many things they do. And finally, it is what? Whichever marriage it is, doesn't matter. You have to adjust with each other, tune up with each other. That's all. I would say the word adjust, not compromise. Adjust with each other, which happens in any relationship. So that is what one has to do. So we don't have to convince the child to do arranged marriage only. We have to convince the child to know the opposite person properly. And for that, what it requires, try to do that. Because otherwise there will be regret. On what basis do I choose? Unfortunately, many times the basis is very superficial. The person is so wealthy, person is so rich, person is so strong, person has six pack. Arey, theek hai, six pack hoga. So mind has to have some clarity. If the mind doesn't have the clarity, then what is the point? So that is what one has to encourage of, make the children aware of how to recognize people, their strengths, their weaknesses, how to identify that, because that will be applicable everywhere. If you become a team leader, you have to manage teams. You should know whose potential is what and what work you can delegate to whom, what not to give to certain people, what to give. So I should know how to identify. That will make the children also smart. Then they will be able to identify. Not to become judgmental, I'm saying, but to become smart in recognizing. And for that, what is important is I should know my own self first properly, which is why Vedanta and everything comes into play. If I know my own fears, my own strengths, my own weaknesses, and I know how to handle this, emotions, thoughts, then I can see that in people also. So from a young age, when we start training them to know themselves more and more clearly, as well as try to understand people, these two things must go simultaneously. Then the children will become smart. For that, it is required to open up, explore, make them meet new people, and what type of company to keep also is important. No, Swamiji, but we don't get good company nowadays. Then we have to create such avenues, find such people, go into such institutions where some inspiration is there, some higher values of life are there. And it is there, not that it is not there. It just we'll have to find, maybe difficult, commonly not available, possible, but it is still there. That we'll have to find. Okay, so 2 books next week you will get. One is Bhajagovindam and second is Art of Contemplation. Because after Bhajagovindam gets over, the next portion of the course is on meditation. So Gurudev's 2 books. If any of you are already having it and you don't need it, then you please give the name to Rishikesh. If you have it and you still want one more copy, no problem, please take. But just in case you have and you don't want to get one more, then you tell him, so then we will order that much less. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.